I think growing up, you never really know that you're going to be okay. When you're dealing with rejection from a parent, it's tough.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Welcome to Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey.
You have to continue to walk in your purpose.
We cannot control how other people respond to us.
As long as you have breath in your body, story does not end. Every day that God grants you, you have an opportunity to rewrite your story.
We believe Her Journey will encourage young women and help them see that life is a journey. Watch Her Journey, hosted by me, Joy Doss, brought to you by the Kudzukian Media Group and proudly sponsored by Nike, Black Community Commitment.
Welcome back to another episode of Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group. I'm your host, Joy Doss, and I am here with some of the most phenomenal, most successful women in Memphis, Tennessee, right here in our own backyard. This is our contribution to the solution. Today's phenomenal woman is no different than the others you've heard from. We're talking to Audrey Willis. She is a co-founder and program director for Code School at CodeCrew. She was appointed by Mayor Lee Harris as the first manager of innovation and performance analysis for Shelby County government. And not only is she locally recognized, but she's worldwide. What is the quote by Iceberg Slim? Whatever that quote was. Globally recognized?
I don't know it.
Well, I'm messing up the Iceberg Slim quote, but you know what I'm saying. So BBC, that's global, that's worldwide. She was recognized by them in their 100 Women series. So she's bigger than our backyard. And we have her right here at Kudzukian. Welcome, Audrey P. Willis.
Thank you very much for having me here.
No, we appreciate that. You are a woman in tech, so that is important to highlight. I mean, you're in rare air, actually. So how does that feel? What is that like?
Being a woman in tech is difficult. Being a Black woman in tech is even more difficult. I've spent most of my career being an only. Michelle Obama talks about it. I saw the book sitting here. She talks about it a lot in her books about being an only when you're walking in the room and like what pressure evolves around being an only. So I've spent a lot of my career being the only.
Yeah. I mean, I, as a person who I can identify with that one as my mother's only child, but also as a person that went to UT Knoxville, I spent a lot of time in classes
being
an only. So I get it. But going back to that, what was the path that led here? Well, how did you know you wanted to be in tech, and then what were the steps you took to make it happen?
So I don't think there was really ever a definition of a path. And I think that's part of the reason why the work I do at the Code School is so important, is because a lot of those students don't know the path and they don't see it. And I always preface my story with, I want my story and my journey to be a testament of change that we're trying to bring about. So I don't tell this story and I don't take my journey lightly. But I grew up here, grew up in South Memphis. My mother had a drug addiction. And one thing about her is that she was smart enough to let me go. And she gave me away to some relatives that had the means to be able to take care of me. And they didn't know a tech career, but they knew to support me. They knew to love me. They knew to embrace me. And I've always been a child of wonder. Always doing things that, didn't always fall inside the domains. Kids were playing checkers. I was playing Othello. I was reading Chronicles of Narnia, all those things. So I was always full of wonder. And I was gaming when Nintendo's first came out. I remember floor model TVs and Atari joysticks.
Yep.
So, I'm a throwback gamer. And so I was always only in the gaming arena. I was always with my male cousins playing video games, going
So
to
you
the
were rolling with
arcade.
the homies all
Oh,
the time.
yeah. Oh,
How
yeah.
was that transition like? Because I'll tell you this, like from one style of game to the other. Because like going from the joysticks to like the rollerball touchpads to like
Mhm.
touch screen, like it's just a different touch. Like
It
that's
is.
off script, but like, what is that transition like for you as a tech person and a gamer?
So there's actually studies done on people who game, and you get your large motor skills and your fine motor skills and how that's kind of cultivated. And they have said that gamers make better physicians and surgeons
Really?
because of the usage of fine
Yeah,
motor
because the
skills.
knob is much smaller, or you have buttons where you
Yeah.
have to manipulate.
And then even my controllers, like take for instance, I play Xbox, I play Switch. There's buttons that are in reverse on gaming devices. So if I'm in one room, I have to switch my mind to one set of controllers. From
Yeah.
another room, I switch my head to the other. So it's I think it's the cadence of doing it so long, so often. So if I'll be 44 this year. I've been gaming for almost 40 years. Like it's just learned behavior. And the transition goes, you game on a PC. So I game on a PC. So you gotta be able to switch your brain. And I guess that's a benefit to being a gamer, being able to game on multiple devices and different avenues. You just switch your brain and it happens.
So, I mean, what was that like also growing like in school? Like how did that feel in school? Like were you the square peg in the round hole, or
I had friends in
did
school.
you find your tribe?
I found my tribe, and I've always been able to find my tribe. And a lot of situations where I coulda, shoulda, and woulda been in trouble, that tribe protected me. I'll never forget, like in the 6th grade, there was a girl picking on me. Rhonda McDonald and this girl named Laquita came to my defense. They ended up in the principal's office for me because, the situation erupted. But I always had protectors. I always had good friends. I always had people that could recognize that that life was not for me and protected me from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask, so just given the circumstances of your upbringing, when did you know you were going to be okay? Or how did you know you were going to be okay?
I think growing up, you never really know that you're going to be okay. When you're dealing with rejection from a parent, it's tough. But when you're dealing with perceived rejection from a maternal parent, a lot of things become rough. You start looking for love and looking for that affection that only your mother can give you. And although I was raised up in a wonderfully loving environment, there was still always a missing piece. My mother was always in close proximity to family and things like that. So I saw her dealing and battling her drug addiction and the demons and mental health issues at a very close view. So you never really know you're going to be okay. It's always in the back of my head that, that piece is missing, and it makes you work really hard to like overcompensate for other things. That piece, it always messes with you. It always makes you want to be better because you always feel a little piece of it sneaking up in you, and the imposter syndrome sneaks up, and those things are constantly in your head.
I think a lot of people, more people than we know, feel imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a daily battle.
It's a daily battle, especially when you're dealing with being an only.
Yeah.
You walk into a room and you go, oh, why'd they invite me here?
Yeah.
And people don't make it any easier, because what you'll find is that you'll go into these rooms and people will have you read your resume. I watch women in high leadership positions be in rooms and someone turn around and say, how'd you get here?
Oh, yeah.
And they have to rattle off their resumes. And so, that's one of those common trauma points that, I have with other women in leaderships, is that we've all been charged on stuff like that.
Oh, people want you to qualify yourself, particularly in certain spaces.
Yeah.
For sure. Which actually, that's a great transition to our transition question. And it's a pickup of what we talked about earlier, what you alluded to earlier. being the only and in these tech spaces. When did you know your journey as a Black woman was going to be different?
Ooh.
You don't have to answer it now because we're going to take a quick break. But
Okay.
when we get back, we're going to get that answer from you.
Got it.
All right. I'll give you a second to think about it.
All right.
You're watching Her Journey, presented by Kudzukian Media Group. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with more from Audrey Willis from CodeCrew.